Let's explore some of history's most fascinating and quirky tales. Today we're diving into bizarre royal delusions, a White House takeover by an unexpected guest, and an inventor's peculiar obsession. Grab a snack, perhaps some cheese, and let's get started. Our first story takes us back to medieval France, where King Charles VI, also known as Charles the Mad, reigned from 1380 to 1422. Charles was a complex figure, known for his bouts of mental illness that led to some truly peculiar behavior. Perhaps the most famous of his delusions was the belief that he was made entirely of glass. According to historical accounts, Charles became convinced that his body was as fragile as glass and could shatter at the slightest touch. He reportedly refused to allow people to come near him, and even had iron rods sewn into his clothing to prevent him from accidentally breaking. The king also allegedly insisted on sleeping in a specially constructed room with padded walls to protect his delicate glass body. While it's easy to dismiss Charles's glass delusion as mere madness, it's important to note that he was not alone in his beliefs. In fact, the glass delusion was a relatively common phenomenon in medieval Europe, with numerous cases reported across the continent. Some scholars believe that the delusion may have been related to the increasing prevalence of glass in everyday life during this period, as the material became more widely available and visible in windows, mirrors, and other objects. Despite his struggles with mental illness, Charles VI remained on the throne for over 4 decades, thanks in large part to the efforts of his wife, Isabeau of Bavaria, who served as regent during his episodes of madness. However, his reign was marked by political instability, war, and social unrest, including the devastating 100 Years' War with England. Moving on to a more savory story, let's talk about the time President Andrew Jackson received a truly enormous gift, a 1,400-pound wheel of cheese. Yes, you read that right. In 1835, a group of farmers from upstate New York presented Jackson with the colossal cheddar as a token of their admiration for his stance against the Second Bank of the United States. The cheese, which measured 4 feet in diameter and 2 feet thick, was hauled to the White House by a team of horses and presented to the president in a formal ceremony. Jackson, never one to let good cheese go to waste, decided to share the bounty with the American people. He hosted a massive public reception at the White House, where visitors were invited to sample the giant cheese wheel. According to contemporary accounts, the reception was a rowdy affair, with crowds of people jostling for a taste of the famous cheese. The White House reportedly reeked of cheddar for weeks afterward, and the remnants of the cheese wheel lingered in the building for years. In fact, when Jackson's successor, Martin Van Buren, moved into the White House, he allegedly complained about the lingering cheese odor. While the story of Jackson's giant cheese wheel may seem like a mere footnote in history, it reflects the populist spirit of the Jackson era and the president's desire to connect with the common people. Plus, it's just a really fun story to tell at parties. Finally, let's turn our attention to the brilliant but eccentric inventor Nikola Tesla and his curious relationship with pigeons. Tesla, who is best known for his groundbreaking work in the field of electricity and his famous rivalry with Thomas Edison, was also a notorious obsessive-compulsive who harbored a deep fascination with pigeons. According to Tesla's own accounts, he developed a special bond with a particular white pigeon that visited him regularly at his New York City apartment. He claimed that the pigeon had a certain magnetic attraction and that he could sense when she was nearby. Tesla even went so far as to say that he loved this pigeon as a man loves a woman, and that her death caused him great sorrow. While some have speculated that Tesla's pigeon obsession may have been a manifestation of his mental illness, others see it as a reflection of his deep love for animals and his belief in the interconnectedness of all living things. Tesla was known to be a vegetarian and an advocate for animal welfare, and he often spoke about the intelligence and sensitivity of pigeons and other birds. Regardless of the underlying reasons for Tesla's pigeon fascination, there's no denying that it adds an intriguing and humanizing dimension to the inventor's larger-than-life persona. If you enjoyed this deep dive into some of history's most bizarre tales, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Ancient to Now for more fascinating journeys through time. We'll be back with more mind-bending stories before you can say, "Pass the cheese." Thanks for watching, and remember, embracing your own quirks and obsessions is what makes life interesting. Stay curious, my friends.